one book manufacturer. Then all of a sudden, Brent, out of nowhere, he resigns and takes a vice president role on that company. I mean, how much of that stuff's happening?
Oh, I imagine a lot of it's happening. I mean, whenever, government contracting is rife with opportunities for corruption, of course, tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Hundreds, billions,
yeah,
zillions.
That's right. And, one contract can mean the difference between a profitable year and an unprofitable year. So there's a lot of incentives to pay administrators off. I mean, you see this with soft drink manufacturers all the time where they, pay the schools, build a new gym in order to install vending machines to sell their product.
Remember the good old days, Manson, where you couldn't even,
happens with kids.
Remember the good old days, Manson, where you couldn't even have like a Mountain Dew in school because it just wasn't place for it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know something, Tucker, that was very telling in that clip that they just played? You notice the woman, when she talked about the evidence, she said, we have anecdotal evidence. And anybody that studies science or anything like that will tell you that a lot of times anecdotal evidence is pretty useless. You need empirical evidence to really show you anything. Anecdotal evidence is just one example. You can find one example of anything to back up anything any claim you want to make.
Well, of course, and the paradox is this is coming from the left, which attacked Bush for 8 years for being a faith-based president who didn't care about science. And these are the same people who are now ignoring the facts. I mean, the FBI has a comprehensive data set of crime statistics, and they measure this stuff every year. And we went to the FBI and said, okay, how many incidents have been reported that you're aware of in American public schools of bullying by kids in 5th grade or younger over gay issues? The answer? Zero. None.
So
look, I'm not saying gay kids don't get bullied. I'm just saying I'm sure they do. And I think it's bad. Again, I'm not anti-gay and I'm not for bullying, but I don't think that should be used as a pretext to push stuff on kids. It doesn't belong in schools. If I want to teach my kids that homosexuality is great and that gay marriage, which I'm for, is a good thing, then that's my prerogative as a parent. If I don't want to teach that, I want to teach the opposite, that's also my prerogative as a parent. It's not the school's right to push that crap on my kids.
How about your opinion on a ton of schools? I don't know if it was more of a Southern thing because Southerners hate blacks more than you guys do, which I find disgusting. But, like, for instance, my son's private school and my stepdaughter's private school did not play the Obama speech yesterday. Didn't even offer it. Just simply didn't play it. And that has been happening from a lot. We've now found out down in this area, a ton of schools simply didn't play it at all. And I'm going to be honest with you, Tucker, I got a problem with that. I got a big problem with that. And I wanted to get your opinion on that.
Why? So they could listen to Obama spout a bunch of boring platitudes about stay in school? I mean, talk about it was a cliche fest. Did you see it?
All right. Well, you know what?
Kids are going to look at that and be like, wow, Obama says stay in school. I guess I won't, get pregnant at 14 and drop out. Or
so it's not been done before?
Whatever.
It's not been done with Ronald Reagan and with George H.? It's not been done as well?
I'm against that. I'm against all of them.
All right. So since it's been done before, why now? Why even give anybody the opportunity to even question discrimination? And you should just, if you ran the George H. one and you ran the Ronald Reagan one, then you sure as hell should run this one as well, whether you agree on it or not. And you think that
like racial discrimination.
Well, I mean, what other way? Why would you not be running it? In fact, I'm supposed to be speaking with Tyler's principal, and I'm going to say, why did you not run it? Just give me some reason.
Well, how about I'll give you a really good reason, because this is a president who's involved in the most intense political and partisan negotiation of his life right now, this week, this month, this year with health care. There's no way to separate out anything the president says right now from politics. And so why? What do kids know about that? They shouldn't be involved.
Hold on, Tucker. You are such an idiot.
Tucker, it was a simple message telling children to stay in school and do better.
Now I really
want that. The kids really look.
I want to fight you.
It doesn't mean the kids are going to listen, but what's the problem with having them see it? There's no problem.
Isn't there a certain amount of respect that goes with that office? And the bottom line is, man, he had to submit his speech prior. They didn't like the first one, so he changed it to this rah-rah cheerleading deal, and he did that, and it's still not good enough. It's like,
about fighting homelessness and discrimination.
And what's wrong with that?
Stop being Tucker. Stop being a political pundit for about a half a second and just think back to when you were a kid and what would have been the big deal about you watching a speech like that.
I mean,
Stop reading too deep into it and being political pundit.
You're really pissing me off.
Let me answer your question. I spent my entire childhood sitting through long propaganda lectures from my mediocre teachers who were making political points disguised as educational points, and I resented it every moment. I hated it. My kids have to endure the same crap, and I hate it. I just feel like let's leave the kids out of it. If Obama wants to, lecture America on this, that, or the other thing, we listen to him every single day.
I'm so pissed. I can't even think of what I'm going to say, Brett. I'm so mad at Tucker.
But see, the thing is, I think it's so innocuous because I cannot tell you one thing that Ronald Reagan said because I was in school when Ronald Reagan did his, and I cannot remember one thing he said because I didn't pay attention.
If they allowed Ronald Reagan to do it and nobody made a big deal about it, then why is it a big deal now? Why? Because the guy's black.
People are mad at Barack Obama because of his agenda, and they have a right to be mad.
So
we
hold
have
on
a right
now.
to dissent.
You're going to try to tell me that the job of the President of the United States is to have an agenda, and obviously it's a very polarized. Hold on, and obviously that job is a very polarized one in itself. It's a no-win. I don't even want to. I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy to have to be that loved, but yet that hated. It's just you can't win for losing. So the guy comes in here and he tries to do a positive speech and talk to the kids about watching what you post on Facebook, not sitting in front of the computer all day or the Xbox, and getting out and doing something with yourself. And then we got jackasses like you, the same people which, by the way, that supported Warren Jeffs, that said that, you know what, by the way, there's no need for that in the school system. I want to beat your ass right now and use that bow tie to strangle you.
Here's what happens. Let me just inject a little logic here. The unionized, overwhelmingly liberal, Obama-voting public school teachers who are in charge of these classrooms conduct discussions after Obama's speech, which in many cases inevitably will turn into propaganda sessions on behalf of Barack Obama. I just don't want my teachers talking about politics with my kids.
Watch yourself. You're insulting my mother, who is none of those things you just said.
Hold on, man. You know what?
I'm married a teacher. I like teachers. I'm just saying, objectively, we know for a fact that the majority of public school teachers are union members who support Obama. And I'm just saying.
I got a guy from Fort Lauderdale. I can't put him on because I don't want a conference call and lose Tuck. Makes an interesting point. Why did the schools show the OJ verdict but didn't show Obama?
I didn't know they show. Why would they show the OJ?
No,
verdict?
they did. That was everything stopped.
Do that either.
I remember that day.
But they should. I mean,
maybe that's why China's overtaking us because the school day is wasted with boring crap like that.
Yeah.
Yet another history of the civil rights movement. Stop it. Teach my kids to read. Give them decent books.
The civil rights movement, man. We are so digressing. You know what? The bottom line is.
I'm just saying. I'm for the civil rights movement. I'm not against learning about it.
The bottom line is this, Tucker.
In my kids' school,
you know what? You don't have the balls. You don't have the balls to admit it. You don't have the balls to admit it, my friend. But here's the deal. You won't admit it. But here's the bottom line. For the people, America in general has an absolute hard-on or an absolute problem. They cannot. A lot of people just can't deal with the fact that we got a black for a president. That's the bottom line.
First of all, we have a man who is half black. And the idea that he's like, the whole thing is so crazy. The fact that his dad was black has I swear, as God watches strike me down, I swear to God, has nothing to do with my feelings about Barack Obama one way or the other.
So here's the deal. Here's the deal. And here's the deal. You got
any criticism of Obama is not racism.
Hold on.
It's okay to disagree with your president.
Maybe
not
you. Maybe not you. But I'm telling you right now. And you know what? Oddly enough, we spoke wonderful about this man last week, Glenn Beck. I got a lot of respect for that guy on your network. And you know that we were huge fans of Glenn Beck. But this whole thing is derived around one thing. This whole Barack should have not been seen yesterday in the school, and some schools chose not to show it. Others did. It was an elective. It was a voluntary type deal. My son's school didn't show it at all, and I'm marching my happy ass down there right now and going to talk to the principal. But here's the bottom line. The problem we have today, Tucker, is that everybody is in a shakedown of profit, talk show-wise. Rush Limbaugh has to get everybody all stirred up, not because it's necessarily the right thing to do or necessarily the truth, because he needs ratings and he's got to get these people and these sheeple all stirred up on some kind of subject matter. And when it is a Democrat in the White House, whatever happened to everybody just being somewhat proud of whomever's in the White House, but it's become such a big business to be a hater and to be a counter-programmer that the Rush Limbaughs and the Glenn Becks are making, 8 and 9 figures at just being counterproductive of what's happening in the White House.
Counterproductive? Look, I love you, Bubba, but you're being unfair in this regard.
I am.
It is